are blankets. These are carpets on the ground, and the children are playing here. This is a trailer house. A shelter was built here by planks. This is a bathroom. This should be a mixture of kitchen and bathroom. This is used for baths. And the two buckets that we just saw can provide water in here. This is also a kitchen. There are some appliances for houses. The temperature is really cold right now. The exterior of the house feels pretty cold. If a new trailer house is inside this temperature, the inside of the trailer shouldn't be as cold. This proves that this trailer house is a rather old one. And there are some holes which light and wind can come through, so it can be pretty cold inside of here. It is hard to imagine. When temperatures drop below 0 in winters, how can people live in this kind of a condition? To live, to take a bath, to wash their hands. As you can see the wires on the ceiling, this comes from the neighbor's house. It's probably a sharing wire with other families. So this is the condition for water and electricity condition. Electricity can be of easy use because wires can go through and be connected, but water usage is rather difficult. This is a semi-automatic washing machine. This is the family that we're going to visit today. This is the refugee that we're going to interview today. Abnu, Mr. Abnu.
So this is your house.
This is Mr. Abnu's bedroom. We can see blankets on the ground because he is living with his children as well as his wife. So every one of them have one blanket and they're living inside this house. We can see that this trailer house is also very old. The walls can be a little bit warmer than the one we saw before, but it is still not covering them in the winter. This is a heater powered by natural gas. Mr. Abdu has told us that this heater is powered by natural gas. 1 can of natural gas. We can see there's a canister of natural gas placed inside of this house. 1 canister costs 7 JD, about 70 RMB, and the heater is on every night. Every week, it takes about 1 canister of natural gas. This is the biggest expenditure of theirs.
He buy this 这个加热器呢是
This heater
从他的邻居家那里拿回来的，也不是
was given to Mr. Abnoon by his neighbor. He did not purchase it. His neighbor did not want it anymore, so he gave it to Mr. Abnoon.
阿布东先生说呢，即使开了
Mr. Abnoon told us, even if the heater is on,
所以对他们来
the temperature is still rather low inside the house. So this is only kind of a help, but it cannot alleviate the temperature, the cold temperature in winters.
how many family members they have? Nine persons here.
7 sons and
7 sons. You also have daughter.
yes, sons and in between daughters and
哦，OK。这位先生家里面一共有9口人，
Mr. Abnoon has 9 persons in his family,
应该是20多平米的一个小房
including
间
his wife and children.
how
They're
many
living in this 20 square meter trailer house.
那么这个拖车房呢，已经是第4年了。
The trailer house is in its 4th year. So we can see some bumps in the wall.
OK。那么一共是9个人生活在这样一个20
So in total, there are 9 persons living in this 20 square meter
外面
trailer house.
这样
And
的
now
照
let's
明
take
设
a
备
look outside again.
OK。
How about this lighting? Now we'll continue to see on this corner there are some old and unused gas cans. This can hold some dangerous potentials. They're placed here, causing some potentials of dangers. And there are some pickles on top of them. This house is a school. And these cans are drinking waters because in Jordan people purchase drinking waters because of the tap water is not edible and the expenditure on drinking water is rather huge on these kind of people. Mr. Abnoon was an architect in Syria. Now, a primary school is constructed here, and he is taking the position as a teacher. I asked what was the most concerned issue for Mr. Abnoon. Is it waters or heating? Actually, his biggest concern was education. Because this school was sponsored by a local charity organization, Because of funding problems, the school was cancelled. So all the textbook, drinking waters, and the commuting for students are all taken care of by Mr. Abnoon alone. Aside from being a teacher, he would also open some farmland and harvest crops in springs and summers in order to use this money to fund the school. This is a playing field for students. All these facilities was handmade by Mr. Abnoon. This is a playground for the students. And this area is an outdoor classroom. They would play games sometimes right here. Now we're circling to the trailer house of the school. We can see that this one is completely new, forming a contrast with Mr. Abnoon's own trailer house. It looks very clean. And it is completely concealed. There are no halls. The years of this trailer house is also 4 years. However, the maintenance was done pretty good. Normally, there are around 40 students. Today is the festival, so students who live nearby are here, around 40. We can see the pictures hanging on the wall and the blackboard. All these was donated by Mr. Abnoon alone. Okay, let's leave them alone and not bother them for studying. Let's get out here. Let's take another look at the environment. Beside these 2 trees, there are a lot of clothes hanging. They have taken a rope here to hang their clothes. I can see that there are 2 shelters here, covered by plastic. This should be a barn for
为什么要放在这样的
home-bred animals.
是因为
So
防
why
止这
do
些
we
上面的塑料
place
部
them
分下来，
inside a
所以
shelter
呢
like this?
在这里面压了几个盛放着泥土的这个袋子。
They have put some bags with muds inside of
我
them
们还可以看到前
to
面还有
hang
几个
down
棚子，
the plastics covering the shelter. And there are some similar shelters just like this one.
这里其实既是难民们生活的地方，也是难民们工作的地方。
This is the area where refugees live and
就是
work.
在春季和夏季。
This is their sole income source.
这个棚子后面是大片的一个橄榄树林，在这个在
There
春季和
are
夏季的季节，它们
olive trees around this place.
养殖橄榄树，帮助当地的农户养殖橄榄树，以此来获得一些收入。
They would breed olive trees for income.
因为外面的今天的风特别大，约旦这边的温度现在是
There is strong wind today, and the temperature in Jordan right now is around 10 centigrade.
那么我们现在
So I feel pretty chilly out here because of the strong wind. Now let's get back inside the
看
house.
到在这儿还有一个卫星接收器，这个是用来接收这个电视
We
信
can
号的。
see a satellite receiver
刚才我
here
们询问了一下这个
to receive television satellite.
这个
We have been asking about the refugees.
是为了收看这个新闻，他们非常关注现在叙利亚的局势。这些生活在这里的
The owner of this house told us that he really cares about the situation of Syria.
伊德利卜省之类的地方，然后这些地方呢，目前
The refugees all come from Syria, and their original homeland is still in turmoil, so they're not considering the option of going back currently. Okay, now we're going back to Mr. Abnur's house because the wind is too strong and we can hardly do a live stream right now inside the wind. I'm afraid that you won't hear me clearly.
我们看到这里呢，也是一个储存菜品的地方。
We can see this is a storage for vegetables. There are potatoes, onions. Because the temperature is low, so this is a natural refrigerator.
OK。好，我们现在来采访一下。
Okay, now we're back to interview Mr. Abnoon. Hello.
Which is he think is the biggest problem in the winter.
أكبر مشكلة التدفئة الجو تعرفين برد ومطر وثلج أحيانا أكثر شيء التدفئة بالنسبة للمدافع أو للأغطية يعني الحامة في نقص.
The most problem about the heating because this area in the winter it's cold, rain and snow. So the heating and the cover, blanket.
阿布多先生说呢，在这里
Mr. Abnoon told us here the biggest problem in winter is heating. Because Jordan's winters are abject cold. There are rains and snow.
现在这个取暖和
Therefore, heating and coverage are the biggest issues.
So how his income he make money now?
كيف بالنسبة للدخل يعني كيف بيجيك الدخل عشان تصرف حالك في
بس من 4 شهور وجاي يعني الوضع صعب يعني ما ظل في راتب راح الراتب وقف الراتب عندنا.
Okay, there is a organization Save the Children will support this and give him like a salary, but before 4 months the support stopped for the school and for the salary. So
这个先生说呢，他之前的收入就是做教
He
师，
told us
那么
the
国际组织曾
salaries
经
come
资助
from
他
being a
在这里
teacher, and
进行
international
教育，
organization was
但是4个
sponsoring
月
him
前
to
就是
engage in his education career, but 4 months ago the organization stopped sending salaries to him, so he has no source of income currently.
على ايش اكثر شيء مصاريفك انت؟ اكثر شيء ايش تصرف عليه؟
أكثر شيء بالنسبة للتدفئة والمياه الشرب والغسيل.
The heating, he spent more things for heating and for the water.
那么最大的家庭支出呢，现在是这个取暖
So the
以
biggest
及取水。
the biggest expenditure is water and heating.
How he's thinking about in the future his school, his students. That's school.
شو بالنسبة للمدرسة بالمستقبل شو بتتوقع يعني شو بتتوقع لها؟
والله أنا هسه صار لي 4 شهور يعني متطوع أدرس الأطفال، بدي أستمر يعني بتدريسهم، بلكي الله يبعث لنا حد يدعم هالمدرسة يعني يتبنى هالمدرسة يدعمهم، سواء بالراتب للمعلم أو دعم الطلاب من القرى.
He still work like volunteer for this school because maybe someone in the future support the school and support the teacher for salary for to continue teach the children.
阿布顿先生说，他还是希望继续在这里做义务
Told us
教
that
育，因
he
为
still
他
hopes
希望
to be a
有一天
teacher here,
国际组织可以再次能
to
够
be
给
a
他一些
volunteer
支持，
teacher,
让他
because
能够
maybe
使
one day
把这个学校继续
international
办下去。
organizations
那么
may
我们
give
知道
him
10月中
support
旬
again
叙约
and
边境
have
已
him
经开
running
放
the
了。
school.
到目前为止，大
We
约
know
有
that
3000名叙利亚难民
from
返回
October,
了自己的家。
The
但是呢，
border
我
of
们
Syria
采访
has
过
been
国际组
opened.
织联合国难
Around
民署的官员，
3,000
他们说
Syrian
可能
refugees
因为
have
现在是冬
returned
季
their，
这
homes.
也是一个很大的
But
原因，所以难
according
民
to the
们
latest
暂时没有
news,
回去。那么我们不
because
知道
this
阿布
is
顿先生
winter
他会
with
不
cold
会在
temperatures.
这个冬季结束之后有没有
There
返
are
回叙利亚的
not
打算呢
huge batches of refugees returning,
？After the winter.
and we don't know if Mr. Abnur wants to return once the border is clear.
في الوقت الحاضر لا.
No, he don't think this time to back to Syria.
那么阿布顿先生说，他现在还没有打
Mr.
算再
Abnur
回去。
still has
刚才在我
no
们的交谈中，阿布顿先
intentions
生
of
说，因为他
returning
们主
home.
要大部分
In our
这些孩子们都是
conversation,
来自
he
于
told us
叙利亚
that
北部的城
most
市。
of
现
these
在
children come
叙
from
利亚北
northern
部
cities of
不是特
Syria,
别安全。
and the
依然
northern
在
part
战
of
事中，
Syria is
所
still
以呢，他
not
们现在还
secure
不想
and in wars,
无法回到自己的家，但是等这
so
个
they
北部的
cannot
局势像
return to
南
their
部一样
homes.
稳定安全
But
之后，
when the north
他考
part
虑会带
is
着
stable and
他的家
secure
人以
like
及
the
周
south,
边的孩子们一
he
起
will
回到这个叙
consider
利亚。
going back.
那么我们在
with
现在的
his
这个房间里面呢，
children and
有很多的
families.
这个
Now inside this house there are
我想
some
这个
flies
可
and
能也是
bugs.
因为气候和周
I
围的这
think
个环境
maybe
的因
this
素。
is because of the environment and climate.
好，那么我们现在可以到外面去看一下这个。孩子们应该已经放学了，我们到外面去看一下孩子们。
Okay, let's take a look outside again. I think the children are now after class.
Continue.
很多的苍蝇在这里，在这个周围。刚才我们说这里的污水，
There are a lot of flies. This
在
is a
房
sewage
间里和外面有
processing
很多的苍蝇
system.
一直在
So
围着。
inside and outside the houses there are a lot of flies flying around here.
好，那么大家，我们各位网友，今天我们呢带着大家去看了一下这个叙利亚难民在这里的一个非正式的、非官方的一个难民营的情况。因为这个正式和官方的难民营呢，是需要一个许可，并且里面是没有4G信号的，是没有信号，我们无法进行直播。而现在的这个非官方的难民营呢，大部分是这个难民自己聚集区。那么在这样的一个难民营中，难民们都以自己的方式在生活，以自己的方式在进行着。
here in Jordan,
为祖国的
and
未
the
来的建设
refugees here are
进行着一个付出和贡
constructing
献。
their
那么今天
future
我们
for
的
their
主人公这个阿
homeland.
布栋
They're
先生，我们今天主
contributing
要采
as
访
well.
这个阿布栋先
And
生。
our protagonist
他自己曾经是
today,
一个
Mr. Abnoon,
建筑设
he
计
used
师，
to be
然后现在呢
an
是义务
architect,
在这里教育孩
and
子们。
now he
他
is
跟我
being
们
a
说，他
volunteer
最大的愿
teacher,
望就是有一天能够带着他的孩子
educating
们
the children,
重
and
新
his
返回
biggest
叙利亚，
wish
让孩子们
is
用
to
他所
bring
教
the
授的各种
children
技
and
能来重
students
新建
back
设
to
自己的这
Syria
个国家。
and
我
construct
们
their
也衷心
homeland
的希
again
望
with the
叙
skills
利亚
and
北部的这些省份
technology
的局
as
势能
well
够尽
as
快的稳定下来，
knowledge
然后
he
让孩
input
子们
in
让
them.
难民
And
们
we
能够
hope
尽
the
快的回到自
situation
己
in
的家
Syria
园。
can stabilize
非
as
常
soon
感
as
谢网友
possible
们
and
今天的
refugees can
收
return
看，
to
谢谢
their
大家。
homes as
今
soon
天
as
的直
possible.
播
Than
就
you
到
for
这里
watching
结束。
today. Our live streaming comes to an end.